Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play LOTRO with me, Balthelion. So we're carrying on from where we were last time, and we're going to be hunting down the dire wolf Red Eye along with some of his friends while we just talk through some bits and pieces. But yeah, so let's talk about the whole expansion itself. So when this came out, people were obviously a lot happier that they actually had a whole 10 levels to actually level through, whereas Mirkwood was only 5 levels and people were kind of like let down by that. Oh, die fool! So people were obviously happy about that. Sometimes people though would struggle to get the full 10 levels out of it when they were originally leveling, which was interesting because there's certainly enough to do. So whether it's a case of, I think they tended to be like free players that wouldn't get the blue bar bonus experience. And wouldn't get like the daily rest and stuff, and maybe they were sneaking past mobs and that kind of stuff. So, but there's certainly enough to be getting on with, especially these days where XP boosters thrown at you pretty much. Hello, Wolfie. But yeah, it's a lot more to do than probably was in Mirkwood. However, the downside with the whole region, I find, and a lot of people would agree, is that it's very much linear compared to other expansions. And by that, what I mean is, like, pretty much anywhere else up in the game until Isengard, and indeed the regions before this, you could pretty much like roll up at any town, have some quests available to do. You know, you do some quests and then go off, and if you wanted to skip a town, it's kind of fine. You just pick up with a later town somewhere else, maybe in a different region, etc. There's Red Eye. But the problem is in Dunland, you kind of have to do like town A before you go to town B, before you go to town C, and that, because kind of the story is kind of all somewhat more interconnected. Which is kind of a bit of a pain, because if you start over-leveling stuff and you can't be bothered to do the content that you're starting to out-level, or you just want to get somewhere else later on because you had an end-game grind to do in certain bits or something, it's a bit of a pain in the backside. That you kind of have to do it all or not at all, kind of, or you get halfway through and then you give up on the whole rest of it. So that is probably, I'd say, the one downside with the whole Isengard expansion. The quest, like storyline and stuff, well, I don't think it's that bad. It's pretty interesting. You've obviously got the Dunlendings being the main source of the storyline, along with the Rangers that we're obviously escorting south, although we're not going to see them for a good few episodes yet when we meet them back in Galtreth. Yeah, and we meet some other characters. Probably not spoilerish to say this, given that he was in the game trailer that I put at the start of this Isengard chapter of that. But obviously we're going to run into Theodred and his riders at some point. So we kind of get to meet him before he meets his unfortunate demise. Spoilers. Because that happens in the books, so we kind of get to see that, because otherwise it's kind of brushed over in the book storyline, since no one was around to kind of observe the goings on there. But no, it's quite interesting, and obviously this moment when we met Theodred and his chums was actually the first time we came across any kind of like Rohirrim people at all. Now, obviously we're not in Rohan proper, but the Gap of Rohan leads to Rohan. Hence the name, obviously. But we don't actually get to meet or go to any proper Rohan settlements until we get to the Great River. And even then, that's probably somewhat of a technicality, because that's kind of where all the banished Rohirrim get sent to. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's actually genuinely banished. I assume since it's an entire settlement, it's probably genuine banishments as well, rather than just Grima Wormtongue being a bit of a dick and exiling people. There must have been like a norm for this to have happened in order for them to have built up their own little settlement for exiles, essentially, because it's not actually part of the kingdom of Rohan. But yeah, well, before we get there, that will be the next region though, after we're done with Dunland and the whole of the Isengard expansion region. What do we need? I don't see need any more walls. We've killed enough. 2 more turnips. No, the expansion was fine. At the end of it, you have the instance cluster, which didn't come out at launch. So this was the first time? Yeah, it would have been the first expansion where the instances did not arrive at launch, which made people a bit salty about it. Because most people wanted to, like day one, one day I'm going to get up those 10 levels, beat the level cap, and I want to do instances. Even though, 98% of the server is still leveling, it's only like the 2% of people that actually want to quickly rush through the storyline to try and get the server first or whatever. Damn these all nodes, tempting me. There's not really much need. I mean, I kind of think it's good in a way because you get time to just enjoy the leveling experience. There's no rush to get to the end game straight away because there's no instances normally to do. So it gives you time to read the quest text, just immerse yourself in the world, and then by the time you are at the level cap, you can spend a bit of time doing whatever the kind of like initial grind is to get some gear, etc. Before you actually start tackling those instances, which means that the difficulty can be raised a little bit because you're going to be slightly geared by the time you get there. Right, so let's speak to these guys.
The Uqui Rod requires us to give welcome to Devodion.
So hand in their supplies for their festival.
As long as you do not trouble us.
They had the turnip troll guy. Then we can go back to the elder.
The old woman of the mountain says we should not trust Devodion.
Right, so we're going to have the Feast of the Running Stag now. You have done enough for the day, my friend. More than enough. It is now time to take up your seat as an honored guest of the Karu Luf. Our annual festival is almost upon us. I hope it will not be so bad as the impetuous young fawns have led you to believe. Ha! Speak with me again when you are ready. Warning, solo instance. So this is something that will crop up as well throughout the whole region. If you're trying to level with a friend or family member, you're going to be having to ditch fellowship quite a lot because a lot of the instance quests are all going to be solo. So it's a bit of a pain. So let's jump in there then and do some bad voice acting.
Welcomed you to Luntaran and invited you to join in the feast of the Running Stag, the Stag Clan's annual ritual. Tradition not often seen by strangers to Dunland.
Drugavar and Kunanoon hunt at night.
Good evening to you. You are here just in time. The elder is still preparing, but the clan has gathered already. Come, follow me. This is most important night of the year for my people. Gonna sit around the campfire. I should have brought some marshmallows. There's not many of you, is there? The elder will come out to speak soon. This is always such a boring night. Oh, it is not Hefel. Hush! Ah, the mountain folk have arrived. Hello, mountain folk. There's only 2 of you as well. But where is the family from the southern farm? They are missing. How long will the elder ramble on before the feast starts? He hasn't arrived yet, has he? Here he comes. Come now, there is wisdom in these rites. Elaine will probably sleep through it too. Ha! The elder comes! Show some respect. Here we go. Let's go stand at the back. Here we go. Welcome, my kin, to the Feast of the Running Stag. As many of you know, we gather each year to share our history. It is a sad history. It is a history that none should forget. Not until the last of us is dead. Is it time to eat yet? Be silent, Karus. Honored guest, will you fetch me the ritual crown? That's hard to say that word in this fucking accent I'm going for. It is at my door. Boink. Jump up there. So we grab this item, take it to the elder. There you go, sir. Take it. Come on. Thank you, Pendelas. The crown is for the kingdom, for the king that has forsaken Dunland. It is for the children of this land who have been abandoned by Gondor. Never forget the king whose laws forsook us, for we are free, forsaken, and free. And bored! Pendalas, will you fetch me the horsetail now? Take that to the elder. Go on, in you go. Ah, here it is again. Thank you again. My old eyes no longer see well. This horsetail is for Rohan, the land of usurpers. The horse lords are our bitter enemies, and they drove us from our rightful lands. Someday, the lands must belong to the Dunlandings again. Never ever forget our rightful home. And one last favour, Pendalas. The spear. Thank you, kind one. Ah, poor elder. This part of the ritual rouses his sadness. This is a spear of the Dragon Clan. It slew my son, who should not have been a leader, who should have been a leader after me. Look, there is Guto. I knew he would come. My grandson's father's blood still stains its tip. With this spear, we remember that our own people have turned on us. We remember that Dunland is not one people with a common cause. We remember that our own brother clans chased us to the edge of Dunland, when we settled in peace in Trumdreng, the land that nobody wanted. Never forget how we came here, even though you were not born to witness it. Grandfather! What is it, Guto? Grandfather! A crow has returned, but it is injured. So we can have a little look at the bird. It's, I know how to repair this bird. Bit of duct tape. It'll be good. The crow's wing appears twisted, as if someone attempted to break it cruelly. The message it bore is still attached to its leg. You recognise at once that this was the crow that you sent to the southern farm. Something very unfriendly intercepted this poor bird. It is clear that the farmer's family never received this summons. Oh dear Pendalas. You see, grandfather, there are more pressing matters than festivals. When you are Chief Guto, you will be free to ignore all the festivals you like. But as far as I can tell, I am not yet dead. So until I am, you will show some respect for our traditions. I am sorry, my people, but there might be some danger to the south. I am calling an early end to the festival. You may take food from the feast and return to your huts now. Yeah, don't let the food go to waste. I spent ages collecting all that stuff and murdering things for it.
Evil things stir in the night.
This is very upsetting. This poor bird tried to land, but friendly hands did not receive it. We will surely scout at first light. You had the elder, Pendalas. Our festival is at an end. You should take some food and rest, for you have earned it. So we can hop outside. And we will have to investigate what happened to the poor birdie. Right, so I've been dumped outside of town, which is inconvenient. It could have dropped me next to the elder where I started the damn instance, but let's run inside them. And the elder is surely going to give us a vector quest down to the southern farmstead. I fear for what may have taken place in the herdlands after that crow returned last night. A farmer lives there with his son, and a farmhand as well. I must ponder what to do. Send me! You know you want to.
The Technuth have been destroyed. I pray to the Ukhwirad that we will not be next.
This is dreadful, Pendalas. You saw the crow with your own eyes. I know something terrible has happened, where Trev and his folk live in the herdlands. Trevor! His farmhand Callum and his son Dilwyn have been helping to feed our folk from the wealth of the herdlands for a long time. We must investigate. I worry that Elaine's safety must be compromised again, or Guto's. I do not like throwing my only warrior into danger, or my only grandson. Alas, what am I to do? send the poor elf that's come to your town over there, because you know you'd rather do that. You offer to go in Elaine's stead, Pendulous? Is there no end to your bravery and generosity? You, a Devodiad to us, would put yourself in danger to find a missing man you have never met. It does not seem possible. I do not know how we can ever repay you, good Pendulous. Fat loots, which you don't have because you're poor, but whatever. So now we need to take the road south. So we're going to have to slow horse this manually. But basically, we're just going to follow this down the road. And we're going all the way down here, down the river, to some boys over here. So while we're riding down, let's carry on with our little look at the trait trees. So last time we got through to the third tier. So out of the fourth tier skills then, we have finesse increase, so 5 ranks in that. Frankly, at this level, when you're like 65 to 75, I'd say don't bother with finesse. Once you start getting 75 plus, then you kind of need to work some into your build, and certainly by the time you're like in Gondor and Mordor, you need quite a bit of it. But at this point, I wouldn't bother, and frankly, even at the high levels, I wouldn't bother, because there's much higher sources of finesse than 5 points in your trait tree. So I would not bother with that. There seem to be hostile Dunlendings on the river, or something thereabouts. It was just popping up. So we probably ought to dismount quickly. So our next 2 skills are Great Cleave, which grants us a skill, and then there's a sideways upgrade. So Great Cleave basically is great for AoE. You want to get that skill and then upgrade all 5 points in battle acuity, which increases the AoE damage that you get from Great Cleave. Because ultimately, I mean, this is how it is for me. I think you can adjust the cooldown timers and or duration, so you can have this up more often. But plus 25% AoE skill damage. So you do 25% extra damage with all AoE skills while this effect is active. That's huge. That's pretty good. Where it's just a quick murdering of a group of mobs, whether you're on a boss fight or something like that, a 25% damage booster that runs for at least 30 seconds. It might be buffable to more. It's definitely very nice to have. Same as any other temporary major damage boosters, like Captain's Oathbreakers, for example. You definitely want that skill, basically. Right, so where are we now? So there is something over here by the river that we can look at. Is there? Or are you just trolling me with the quest ring? You might be trolling me. Or do we need to murder the man? I think one of these guys will actually drop something as well, so we need to pay attention to our pending loot for any quest items that drop. But we shall murder him anyway and see what happens. There we go. No, he's not dropped anything of interest. Yes. Pendulous has looted his first essence. Oh, hello. I'll tell you what, if you guys are going to be dicks. Actually, I probably don't want to group a lot of you up anyway. Otherwise, I'm going to have to come back in a second with a quest to kill you, and there'll be none of you left. But we'll quickly AoE a few of you boys down. And then if anything was going to drop, it surely would have dropped by now. Right. There's definitely things of interest over here. You hear muffled voices coming from the west bank. So if we head up this little path up here, and there should be like a little valley. We can go over here. There we go, there's a quest ring. It's a bunch of Dunlendings who appear to be non-hostile. So we can speak to this fellow. What of the Herdlands? Do you mean to hurt us, Devodiad? You and many others, I am sure. Well, get it over with. We are outcasts, and there is nothing left for us. We do not even have the means to escape into Enedwaith now. The Drake Loof will see us. We have no food. At least you can grant us a merciful death. Whoa. I'm not here to kill you, boy. Calm down.
Many foul things dwell in the shadows. I fear wolves will be the least of our troubles.
You do not mean to kill us, then? If you are here to help the farmers, you are probably too late. The Dragon Clan warriors destroyed and took everything. We passed through the farm 2 nights ago, but the next morning the deed was done. We heard the screams and saw the smoke. We have not had any food or water since. There's a river right next to you. The water excuse is not going to hold. There's probably a few boars around if we're honest as well. They do not seem to know that we are here. But what does that signify? It seems that we are going to starve in this very spot. Collect stolen food stores from the Dragon Clan scouts. So there we go. So now we need to actually go back over there and murder things. So we need 8 of them. So if we just try and get... I don't know if we want to be bold enough to get 8 in one go. Yeah, why not? Sod it. Let's see if we can do it. There also seems to be some clickies on the floor that we can pick up. Oh, it's just a backpack. That's just trash loot. Right. Let's bow shoot that boy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go, boys. Right. Commence maximum. Oh, some of them reset. One's reset. No. Oh well, I'll kill the ones I've got anyway. I probably should be using my Horn of Gondor, really. Stun the ones that were attacking me rather than just taking it to the face. But screw it. We have murdered them all. Only 5 of them have dropped something, though, of interest. So obviously it's not a guaranteed drop then. But it should be easy enough to kill these remaining guys. We should probably also loot these backpacks and corpses that are around just in case there's something of interest. At the very least, they might actually give me some Kalanard skull and Kalanard hides, which I could use for my alts, since I can't actually mine those. Or birchwood, that would also be useful. God damn it, I'm so used to like being able to mine ore nodes that when I'm on one of the rare few characters that can't actually mine ore because they are a historian scholar or a yeoman farmer, it really throws me off one. Right, so 6, so I need at least 2 more people. We've discovered the Herdlands, so that'll be part of our Trumdreng exploration. But as mentioned previously, there will be exploration deeds for each little mini region within the expansion. There's Slayer deeds throughout the whole expansion, you know, the usual kill Dunlandings, kill orcs, etc. But we should have no problem doing any of those as a champion. And I believe that they're still kind of bugged as well, insofar as since there's like a meta deed for completing all of the quests in a region, and then you get a loot box and a key that's appropriate level for whatever that region is. I think the Dunland ones would automatically complete just by completing the basic Slayer deeds rather than the advanced Slayer deeds. I don't think that's been fixed, unless it's intentional, but that would seem odd. It would be the only region that does do that. So, but yeah, that's an interesting thing to note if you're ever trying to farm regions to get a free loot box and a key to open it. But those keys are bound, so you can't sell them, unfortunately. But still, it's free loot. You can't really complain about that. But yeah, they did go back and add those for regions that were already in the game, because that wasn't in there for Isengard launch, or indeed any of the Eredor regions before launch. Don't think they were added until somewhere in Rohan, actually. Right, what we've got. I thought this would be the last we would see of you, Devodiat. I thought I had sent you to your death. Lol. This is very generous. This will feed us until the chaos dies down. I hope we will be able to make our escape to Edwith soon. Thank you. Our odds were never very promising, but you have just improved them. Wasn't there... Did you have 4 friends, or was there only 3 friends that you had earlier?
As long as the sun shines, you are welcome here.
I might have heard someone from the herdsman's family the night the Dragon Clan came. I heard a terrible scream, but there was naught we could do without weapons. There was no light at all. No light, only screams. The screaming went on, then was silent. Whatever happened to that poor family, it was nothing good. It is good of you to want to look for them, but are you certain it is worth the risk? It is folly to seek the dead while their killers lurk nearby. Nah, screw it. I will avenge them. We will slay them all. So we have to search for the Kellen, the farmhand. There's some interesting quest text bugs that I've been seeing the last few days, not just while recording. So we will search for the Kellen, as he is known. What was the other one I saw the other day? It's again like some weird reference that where they've got the words out of order. So obviously they just mean search for Kellen the farmhand, but they've got an extra the in there. Right, we are going further south, and there's a quest ring on the river. So basically we need to just follow the river. And probably mount up as well. That might be a slight bit quicker. There we go. So I knew there was an item somewhere around here. There we go. We can loot a dagger, where we have to collect daggers, spears, shields, and bows and arrows from murdering people. And the rest of my bag is now likely to be full. So theoretically, they would have started dropping those when we were collecting the food stores. So just remember to loot those out of your bags and start that quest. Otherwise, like me, you're going to be absolutely spammed with all these daggers in your quest log. Right. So downriver we go. And let's see what we can find. Oh dear. It appears there's been a murder. This man probably worked for the farmer, but he lies face down in the water. It is obvious that he has not drawn breath for too long now. This is undoubtedly Trevor, the chief herdsman in these lands. Trevor appears to have been murdered during the invasion. His face and body are contorted, as if he died in considerable pain. Perhaps his were the screams we heard on the night of the raid. Dun dun dun. There's another body down here. Trev has been brutally slain. Oh shit. You have discovered the last member of Trevor's family, and he too is dead, murdered and left at the riverbank to be carried away when the rains come. The Elder will be sorely grieved by this news. The Stag Clan has now grown smaller and more vulnerable. So yeah, I think we'll stop there then. And then next episode we will carry on with avenging the farmer's family. But until then, see you guys next time.